Hello, my name's Kevin Melling with Meadow Machinery here in Lincolnshire, and since 2003 we've been the sole appointed importer and distributor of Millcreek products, which are built in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, USA. And from this base here in Lincolnshire we assemble manure spreaders, which we sell direct primarily to the end user here in the UK. We also ship crated spreaders to different territories throughout mainland Europe, sometimes through a distributor and sometimes direct to the end user themselves. We also undertake a few local modifications to the spreaders that are required for the European market, sometimes for legislative reasons and sometimes just because we use our spreaders slightly different over here. But basically the product that we sell is 99% the same as the product that's sold in the States. We're a small family run business and we pride ourselves on our customer service and our attention to detail. The demographics of Millcreek customers here in Europe is also a little different to what it is in the USA. I'd say it's probably no more than about 60% of our customers are using their spreaders in a purely equine environment. That could be everything from just a horse or pony in a backyard at home to larger equine businesses, riding schools, livery yards which may have 30, 40 or more horses resident. And the gender split is also more even. I'd say it's much more like 50-50 male-female, the end users of our spreaders in the equine sector. The other 40% is much more traditional spreading of manures, so farmyard manures from cattle, sheep, poultry, sometimes alpacas and certain other breeds of livestock, sometimes mixed with equine as well, but that's often hobby farms, smallholders, market gardeners. They're using then their spreaders quite often in a working commercial environment. It's a working tool for them. And then sometimes it's also large estates, large farms that already maybe have a very, very big muck spreader, but they need a certain smaller muck spreader, like a Millcreek, for a certain application. So that could be spreading in a vineyard, in an apple orchard, in hop rows, hop production for making a beer. And the Millcreek spreader, being a traditional rear discharge spreader, has the smaller dimensions to give them the access that they need. But it gives them a nice even spread, just like a traditional big farm spreader. There are other sorts of strange uses as well, where perhaps where the spreader wasn't designed for. It's often used for spreading sand and rubber mixes on riding surfaces and gallops, again in an equestrian environment. Sometimes spreading lime on pasture as addressing a pH imbalance on the land, but also grass clippings, bark mulch, all sorts of different products. Generally speaking, the farmyard manures are a heavier product, so our machines get used heavier than they would do perhaps with fresh manures. So the way in which Millcreek spreaders are used here in Europe is also a little bit different to the way they're used in the States. The prevalence for spreading fresh manure direct from the stable into the spreader and out onto pasture is undertaken by some people here, but generally is less popular. What we tend to do is rot down the manure or compost the manure to varying degrees. So manure will be collected from stables and out of fields, put onto a pile, maybe left for nature to do its course for around about a year to let it compost down. Sometimes it's accelerated by monitoring the moisture levels and the temperature to accelerate the composting process, and you can get composted manure then in maybe just a couple of months. We find composting is beneficial in a variety of ways. It breaks down and spreads finer. It dissipates into the ground much quicker and is certainly virtually odour-free. So that allows much earlier regrazing of the pasture, usually within just a couple of days after spreading of a well-composted manure. Also, because of the heat that's generated during the composting process, that kills off the parasitic larvae and unwanted weed seeds, etc. So that's another benefit. Composting also reduces the bulk of the physical size of the muck as it drops down over a period of months. And so whereas perhaps if you'd spread, say, 10 loads of fresh manure, if you were spreading that composted later on, you might only require 5 or 6 loads. And I guess a result of that is the manures that we spread over here tend to be much heavier and more dense. And so I would argue that our machines are used much heavier than they are in the States, and more intensively as well, because when you're spreading composted manure, you're spreading perhaps maybe a couple of times a year, sometimes only once a year, but the machine will be used quite intensively and heavily during that period. Millcreek Spreaders is a great range of products, and they've evolved over the years and been proven in a variety of different heavy duty applications here in Europe. The factory have worked with us closely to give us just what we need. Heavy duty bodies, heavy duty power transmission components, recycled plastic floors, and of course now available in stainless steel as well for the ultimate in corrosion protection. So it's a great product, and we're pleased to be selling them for Millcreek, and I think we have a great future ahead of us together.